Hi, this is Rabbi Chaim Coffman. Welcome to our 139th installment in the Torah portion of the week. We're holding by Parshas Devarim. Now everyone's on the same page. We're not a week ahead anymore in the land of Israel. We're in the last book, or the 5 books of the Torah, the book of Deuteronomy. And it's Moshe's swan song before he dies, where he rebukes the Jewish people. So you'll see about the rebuke, appointment of judges, speaks about the spies, and he hints about these places, doesn't tell them directly, right? But they understand what he's talking about. So one thing I want to hit is this idea of judges, right? What does the Torah here say? The Torah here says, chapter 1, verse 9, and he says, I said to you this time, saying, I cannot carry you alone. Hashem your God has multiplied you. Behold, you are like the stars of the heaven in abundance. May Hashem God of your forefathers add you 1,000 times yourself, bless you. He has spoken of you. How can I alone carry your contentiousness, your burdens, your quarrels? Provide for yourself distinguished men who are wise, understanding, and well known to your tribes, and I shall appoint them as your heads. You answered me and said, this thing you have proposed to do is good. So he makes them heads over the others. So you need judges. Right? The Torah says clear. You need judges. And there's a mitzvah. Not only to appoint judges, right? Every community needs their own rabbinical court, or it has to be nearby. And you need proper judges. You need proper rabbinical court judges. Now, a person can pass the requisite exams, become a rabbi. Right? Rabbi doesn't mean so much today, it just means a teacher. It means they passed certain requisite exams, but it's all about midos. It's all about character traits, not just by what you know. So my Rabbi is always fond of saying that when you appoint judges, it's not just based on knowledge. Right? It's not just, they passed the exam, they're ready to be appointed. You need to see what the character traits are. Not just based on book knowledge. So we've spoken about integrity many times. Spoken about credentials many times. So they might think, maybe I'm going to rehash that and bash some other things. Nope. Trying to get in a better mood right before Tisha B'Av. Before 9th of Av. So you can say, what am I going to talk about? The importance of listening to the rabbis. That's part of it. And the importance of having judges. You need rabbinic court judges. They have to be qualified. They have to know Jewish law. They have to have integrity. Can some people pass the requisite exams and not have integrity? Can they be bought off? Yes. Torah says you're not allowed to take a bribe. Who's that referring to? A judge. Because God knows that even though he has a tremendous amount of knowledge, he's got a big evil inclination as well. So therefore, a person has to be careful. So you need judges. You need them to be qualified. They need to be erudite. They need to have good midos. So that being said, a Jew, has a claim against another Jew. They have an issue, they come in front of the Beis Din. And they let the Beis Din decide. Now you signed a document in the Beis Din saying whatever the Beis Din says you're going to listen to. Now it's not true judgment. There is no true judgment according to the Torah. We don't have those type of rabbis today that have that knowledge. or given that rabbinic ordination, like it once was. So therefore, it's called Pshara Karav L'Din. Pshara Karav L'Din means that it's like you're making a compromise. But it's close to judgment. Now, obviously, one side will probably win over the other, or maybe they have to make a compromise. Maybe they're lacking evidence, or whatever the case is. They may have to make a compromise. But in the end, there's a mitzvah to listen to the rabbis. So you may say, let's take this, a step further. If you go in front of a rabbinical court, the rabbinical court paskins, and they say, okay, X owes money to Y or vice versa. So listen to them. You signed a document to say whatever they say we're going to listen to. Which means you can't now, if you lose, you cannot take this document, go to secular court, try and get it overturned. It's called being a sore loser. So it's a mitzvah to listen to what they say. You may say that's obvious. But I've seen a few things in Beis Din where somebody didn't like what the Beis Din answered and went to secular court. That you're not allowed to do. It's a terrible thing to do. You signed up. You agreed to hear what the Beis Din has to say. Finished. They make you pay. They make you pay. If you're liable, you're liable. You got to call a spade. But let's go a little bit further. The Torah says you need judges. The Torah also says I have to listen to them. They have the rabbinical court. They have the knowledge. All things being equal, you sign the document. Gotta listen. They're enforcing the law. They are bringing the law from the books, from the Talmud, from the commentaries. And what they do is based on precedent. That being said, if you're going to go to rabbinical court and you believe in what these people are saying, then what about what they learned? Where do they get their knowledge from? The rabbis, previous generations, way back. What's the source? What is the Mishnah? What makes up the Talmud? Mishnah is a commentary on the Torah. Gemara is a commentary on the Mishnah. Mishnah and the Gemara make up what we call the Talmud. Then you have Rashi, right? Rabbi Shlomo Yitzchaki. You have his commentary. Without him, we wouldn't understand anything. It's usually a simple explanation what's going on. Then you got Tosfos on the same page, asking questions on Rashi based on other sources, trying to understand what the meaning is in the Talmud. Then you got early commentators, right? You got the Ritva, the Rashba, you got the Rambam, the Ravid. You got later commentaries, you got the Beis Yosef, Rav Yosef Karo, you got the Tur. Right, and then you have the other commentaries, the later commentaries on Shulchan Aruch. So you'll say, well, these are only people. These are only men who say I have to listen. Later generation, probably people could understand why I have to listen to them. But if you tell me everything they do is based on what the early commentators and what the Talmud says, so then you could ask, how do I know Talmud's true? Why do I have to listen to the rabbis? Oh, don't they know a heck of a lot more than us? Well, they're only people, you're right. But what was given on Mount Sinai? The written law and the oral law. What is the oral law? Oral law is the rabbis, the Talmud. Rabbi Yehuda Nasi put it together with Rav Ashi and Ravina. Organized it. How do we know it's really what they said? So, I'm not here to prove oral tradition. What I'm here to do is talk about authenticity of oral tradition. So the Karaites will be jumping up and down and saying, we don't need to listen to the rabbis. Well, we're the Karaites today. All 50 that are left of them in the world. Disappeared. The only thing we have is rabbinic Judaism. You say it's their opinion. You're right, it's their opinion. Their holy opinion. But the point here is, why do we have to listen to them? Because the Torah doesn't make sense without any explanation. There are certain things we'd understand better, even without them. But there are plenty of things where the Torah is very vague. Comes along the Torah in Parshas Emor. In the book of Leviticus, what does it tell us? It tells us about the holidays. It tells us about Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot. It says on Sukkot you're going to sit 6 days in a sukkah. That's great. What's a sukkah? How big? Does it have walls? Does it have a roof? Or a roof, depending where you're from. 7 days. How can it be 7 days? What about the last 2 days? It's really 9 days. And I don't sit in the sukkah the last days. We used to maybe outside of Israel sit in the sukkah, but I don't make a blessing over the sukkah. In Israel, you don't sit in the sukkah the last day. The end of sukkahs. A little bit of problematic for the verse. Not only that, tells you to bring a nice fruit. Nice smelling fruit. Well, what is it? You think it's a watermelon. You think it's a pomegranate. Someone else thinks it's a quince. You think it's a peach. No one's ever going to think it's a lemon on steroids. That it's an esrog. So you're going to say, Rabbi, very good. What's the point? Point is very simple. Without oral tradition, would we know what to bring on Sukkot? And what does it mean in front of God? That you do this in front of God. Isn't God everywhere? So what do I do it? How do I do it? No answers. There are other things as well that may at face value look understandable. But in the end, there are multiple levels. What do I mean? Transgression in the Torah says don't kill. We know murder's forbidden. What if you murder someone who's already going to die? He's already in hospice. He's going to die within 2 weeks. Maybe before, maybe after, but he's going to die, it's clear. Make it easy. What happens if you suffocate this person and they die? You'll say, it's murder, isn't it? Isn't it obvious? No. Why not? You killed someone, but you knew he's going to die. You know it's only a matter of when. So technically speaking, you killed someone who's already dead. The question is, if you kill someone who's already dead, did I murder? Did I commit murder? What would you say? No. He's already dead. I didn't do anything. He's going to die anyway. Problem is that you killed him early. He's supposed to die in a week. You kill him in 2 days. He's going to die anyway. Who gives you a right to hasten the death? We think we're doing mercy. You pull the plug. Person's going to be a vegetable according to the doctors. If he ever wakes up. You just killed him. But you're not going to have quality of life. Who cares what you think? Person may be getting his punishment in this world in order that he'll go squeaky clean in the next. This is the case. I heard about a doctor who became religious through the following story. Had a patient. It's on a respirator. Family made a decision. They pulled the plug. So that night, the soul of that person he killed comes to him in a dream. Obviously, this doctor wasn't religious at this point. And this soul says to him, "You murdered me. You killed me. All I had was a few more days. I'd have lied there. I would have gone straight into paradise. Now I'm suffering. You're a murderer." This guy had this dream a number of nights. Bothered him. Should have bothered him. The person telling the story eventually became an Orthodox Jew. But what's the point? He might have died a week later, 2 weeks later, a month later, however long, on this respirator. Or he may not have. But who gives you the right to hasten his life? Who gives you the right to murder him? It's, according to others, murder. You're taking life into your own hands. Cut off someone's pacemaker. They're going to die in 6 hours. They die in 2. That's murder. But I don't want that person to suffer. That person suffered enough. Who are you to say? Well, now you're God? You know what's best for this person. You don't even know what you're looking at. Go back to the first story. This person, yeah, he knew he was waiting there. He knew what was going on. And he knew that was his suffering. That was his ticket to the next world. You blew it. Now you tell me, you see a guy sitting there in a respirator. You have no idea what's going on. You don't think anything's going on. In the end, you're wrong. You have no idea. Alright, there was another story. Someone terrible car crash. And for a long time was in a coma. And he kept hearing his parents saying, should we take him off the respirator? Shouldn't we? He's going to be a vegetable anyway. And this guy was screaming, "Don't kill me, but don't hurt him." And after a while, he came out of it. But he knew exactly what was going on. He heard everything. But he was sitting there unconscious. In a coma. Now you might say, killing that person, you don't think this is going to happen. So by killing him, you take him out of his misery. But how do you know what's going on? So the Torah looks at that as you don't have the right to play God. And therefore, you're going to be over Torah prohibition of murder. That's why euthanasia is such a powerful thing. I don't want that person to suffer. I don't want them going through this anymore. They're going to be a vegetable if they wake up. But how do you know what you're looking at? Where it's forbidden, take them off the respirator. How do you know what you're looking at? You think you're doing the greatest act of mercy. Well, according to the Torah, it's the greatest act of cruelty. Because they know it'd be worse if I shot him in the head. Maybe, a certain way. But pulling the plug is the same thing. You'll say it's less cruel. You want to differentiate between this level of murder and that level of murder? It's murder! Capital M. So how do you justify it? There's no justification. So you say, well, that's easy. Torah says don't murder. But there are different levels, isn't there? Torah doesn't give me parameters. Torah just says don't murder. If that's the case, you cause damage, end up killing someone, whatever. We're talking about straight law over here. Don't kill. So what does that mean? If he's going to be a vegetable in a coma, is that murder? Showing mercy. Sure. You get upstairs, God's going to say, you murderer! I didn't murder anyone. Who'd I kill? Oh, him? My relative, whatever. He's going to die anyway. I'm not a murderer. Took him out of his misery. God said, you took him out of his misery? Let me show you. Now God shows him the score. And since this guy could have had such a portion in paradise, now it got curtailed. Now he's got to work out other ways. But he's going to have to suffer now. Could have just suffered then. You blew it. So there are many things in the Torah that need clarification, that need to be understood. So you tell me, haven't you said this before in a lot of other videos? Yes. So I mention again, emphasis. Now, I want to make another point. And that is that regardless of what the rabbis tell us, as much as you understand or don't understand, you think, oh, they're only the rabbis, is that? You're liable for the death penalty if you don't listen to them. Let me repeat that. You will be liable for the death penalty if you don't go by what the rabbis say. And you denigrate them, you make fun of them. Punishment is very severe. You say, well, that's the rabbis, that's the way he set it up, so they'll be listened to. Yeah, maybe. But the Torah says clear you need judges. Too many people, you need judges. But within that, it means they need to be respected. They need to be listened to. But they're basing their judgment on the Talmud, on what the rabbis there say. And then we go through the generations, how we learn it out, this, that. Why can't I do what I want? Well, we just said. You can have law courts. You can have people be expert in the law. So they said, how do you know it's authentic? I know what the rabbi said is true. So let me ask. Do we have anything else to go by? Do we have any other precedent? No. This is what we're stuck with. For better or for worse. But showing disrespect. Yeah, it comes through ignorance. It can come through jealousy. But then it comes through ignorance. Do you follow blindly what your rabbi says? So if you have a spiritual question, who do you go to? You go to a spiritual mentor, someone who knows. But you see, you know what Torah is? Just actually discussed this in my class on the ways of the righteous, which I gave to myself. Very much enjoyed it. Put it on my website. I had second class on Torah. Almost at the end of the book. Torah's not like anything else. Torah gives the person the ability to know things that they should never have known. So I'll give the following example. Famous Chazon Ish. Rav Avraham Yeshaya Karolitz Zecher Tzadik Levrocha. Torah giant of the last generation here in Israel. And someone was supposed to have brain surgery. The doctor didn't know how to operate without hitting the brainstem. So this person went to the Chazon Ish, and the Chazon Ish drew a picture of a brain, of the head, and he said, okay, enter this way, come out that way, you won't come near the brainstem. This person showed the doctor. The doctor said this person's a genius, gotta meet him. Never seen any medical genius like it. Think the Chazon Ish took any classes of medicine? I mean, I don't know. And did he have a whole bunch of books, science books in his bathroom? I don't know. I don't think so. Where'd he get the knowledge from? Right? The doctor was astounded. He did the surgery, and it was a success. And the person lived. So anytime he had any question, he went straight to the Chazon Ish. Where'd he get the knowledge from? So you tell me it's irresponsible. How in the world could they go to a rabbi for a science question? It's a good question. Legitimate question. And the answer is, the Orthodox says, that there are great people who learn for the sake of heaven, and they're given information from heaven that they would normally never have. It's more than a sixth sense. It's their given information. Chazon Ish wasn't a scientist. Didn't read any medical books. He got it, all his knowledge through Torah. But the fact he worked so hard in Torah, that was his reward. God gave him information that he never should have had. That he never would have gotten on his own. There are many, many stories like that with great rabbis in every generation given information they shouldn't have known. The only explanation is that God gave them the information. It's the power of Torah. So I get it. People say, what does he know about science? Obviously he proved he knew a heck of a lot. Based on the Torah that he learned. They have a different siyata d'shmai, different heavenly help. Seen it with my own Rabbi, Rabbi going to Moshe Stern Shlita, should be well. Told me certain things that I sat there bewildered. He told me a certain case. And he said, this is what I asked. I said, you asked that? He said, yeah. And he got the answer and he solved the case. But I said, how in the world did you know? So part of it was, he heard the person talking, heard his background. Had an inkling that something else might have been going on. But time and time again, through just pure knowledge and working hard, as Orchos Tzadikim says, for the sake of heaven, nothing else. Privy to other things. Able to ask certain things that he might not have asked before. But he's given that information. He's given that ability. It's not normal. Forget it. Sounds strange. Oh, what does this rabbi know about medicine? Now, supposedly, Rabbi's written a book on different things in medicine. No one person who saw it. Not out for publication. When he took out his book, someone told me, oh, take this, you'll be all right. This or that or whatever it was. Person asked him about this book, he goes, it's my book. That was it. Put it away, I never saw it. So you can say, where did he get his knowledge from? So it's either, like I once told him, A nice way. Either you had an unbelievable library in the bathroom, which I never found, or you got other books that you have unbelievable secular knowledge that you didn't tell anybody about. And the answer to all those questions is no. God gave him other information. He's not a scientist, hasn't read up on science, doesn't mean he hasn't spoken to doctors. But he didn't sit there and have a doctor come to him every day for hours explaining things, this, that. That wasn't the case. So where did he get the information from? Exactly what the Orthodox Tzaddikim says. Person learns and learns and learns for the sake of heaven. It has to be pure. Heart has to be pure. Person have different type of siyata d'shmaya. Different type of heavenly help. And God will give him information that he never would have had on his own. No matter how much he tried. So why do I mention all this? Because people think, rabbis, religion, it's all hogwash, it's all make-believe. And they'll use an excuse, what do the rabbis know? That was 2,000 years ago. Well, what do you think all Jewish law is based on? It's based on what they said. It's based on the words of the Rambam. On the other commentaries, how they understood it. And brought down to Jewish law today. So the rabbis today is great as rabbis of previous generations? No. But Talmud tells us a Beis Din, even our generation, is as qualified as a Beis Din in his generation. You want to say a Beis Din today can compare to a Beis Din time of Moshe Rabbeinu? Who are we kidding? It's the same in the sense that the rabbis of this generation, just like the rabbis then, had the right to interpret what the Torah says. So then, skeptics will come and say, how do I know what they're saying is right? Maybe they're all wrong. Maybe. Maybe Reform conservatives right. They have their opinions. They can interpret the way they interpret. Granted. There's only one problem. You take a horse and a donkey, you create a mule. God doesn't want you to play with creation, but if you do, okay. You make a mule. Mule's a tremendously strong animal. One problem with the mule. Everyone knows the story. What's the problem with the mule? Sterile. Can't reproduce. So even if I would say these other movements are valid, which they're not, but even if we would say they would be valid, do they work? Can it be passed down? And what's the answer? No. If you could prove to me that it does work, different story. We'll have a discussion, sort of. Be a short discussion. If you know the rabbis this, the rabbis that, we don't have anything else. And throughout the generation, the only thing that's kept Jewish people together are the rabbis, are the Torah. That's it. Without Torah, it's like body without a soul. Can't pass down a feeling. It's all or nothing. You're going to say it's fanatical, it's this, it's that. Show me a better way. A better life that has more meaning. That makes more sense. The rabbis in every generation deserve respect. Unless they don't. Unless they go off, they do their own thing. They rely on things that they shouldn't do. There are rabbis this generation call themselves Orthodox, but they're nothing but anti-Orthodox. Are they legit? No. Why not? Because they go against what the Torah says. You can't be an Orthodox rabbi, Jew, and say homosexuality is okay. Can't do it. Plenty of other things that some people want to claim and say is not true. So these people have to be warned. You have to warn them. So I warn other people against them. Is that Lashon Hara? No. Because it causes others to go astray. Right? They're not keeping by what the Torah says. They want to set their own precedents. They rely on things that never you should rely on. I know, I get back to the same point. Rogue rabbis and this and that. Not going to harp on it. But either, as I always say, either you want to be the real deal, or you want to be an imitation. You want to be an imitation? I don't think you're going to have much success. As Orthodox as you may look. The next generation, what's going to be? You want to water it down, but you're strong? What about your kids? It's going to get watered down more. And then it's going to get watered down more. So what kind of life span is this going to be? Generation? Maybe 2 generations. It's never going to last because there's no integrity. It's about fitting the Torah into my life. Not the other way around. So when you do that, you make rabbis look kind of stupid. Because you don't listen to them. You try and uproot what they say. So it fits your world outlook. But who cares about your world outlook? Is the Torah true or it's not true? Do I have to keep it or not keep it? If you can rely on certain leniencies, fine. If you're not allowed to rely on it, something else. Can't just do what you want. That's why there's a mitzvah in every generation. You have to have judges. You have to have people judge. You need rabbinical courts. True. But you also have to have respect. You know, rabbis are not infallible. They can make mistakes. There are people that are corrupt. Can happen. But you don't throw out the whole institution. They'll say, well, they're this and they're that, and they've done this and they made up. And yeah, people make a lot of excuses. And that's all they are. So what? Someone made a mistake. Someone committed fraud. What does that say? It means the person's not perfect. We're going to throw everyone else out? And say, I can't listen to any rabbis, and they're this and they're that, and yeah, that's discrimination. It can also be racist. And say they're all like this or they're all like that. But they're the first ones to get knocked off. To get knocked down. One little thing they may do. They should have said this, they didn't, this. What do I need to listen to them for? All they do is they're looking money for their buildings, for their this, for their that. So would a person agree you need judges, rabbis every generation? Yes. Because someone would say no, so who's going to interpret the law? Who's going to keep the law going generation, generation? If we don't learn it, we don't have proper people that are trained in it, it'll go by the wayside. You know, you want a Mickey Mouse rabbi that says, you want to know what, if I ride a bike on Shabbos? I ride a bike on Shabbos. Very nice. According to Jewish law, are you allowed to ride a bike on Shabbos? That's the question. So show me a source why you're allowed to or not allowed to. So this goofball answers, you want to know what I do? I don't care what you do. You drop dead, get hit by a bus, who cares? Am I allowed to do it? Or am I not allowed to do it? This is what I do. So what is this person saying? I don't know what the law is. I don't know what the sources are. I'll tell you what I do anyway. That means you're ignorant. So just say, I don't know. Just admit the truth. No, you gotta save face. Gotta show I know more than I do. Well, in this case, you're not showing anything. In this case, what you're saying is, I'll do what I want. You have rabbinic authority to do so? Listen, I took all these classes in pastoral psychology. I learned a little bit of Mishnah, maybe. Learned a lot of Jewish history. I learned Hebrew. I learned how to pray. Lead the congregation in prayer. But I didn't learn too much Talmud. I didn't learn very much in Jewish law. Well, isn't that the essence of what a rabbi should be? Yeah, he's supposed to teach. But he should be well versed in Jewish law. Doesn't mean he has to be an expert in everything. But you know what's going on, what's a question, what's not a question. This guy said, nah, I don't know the question. This is what I do. You say, well, you're disrespecting him. No, he's ignorant. I'm admitting he's ignorant. If he's ignorant, then he has nothing to say about anything in Jewish law. You want to know what I do? It's irrelevant. Not based on Jewish sources. It's based on what I want to do, what I think. If you tell me he's well versed in Jewish law, and that's his opinion, and that's how it comes out, it's one thing. Let's go according to his worldview. So the real rabbis out there need to be respected. And they deserve respect, just for the knowledge that they have. Now, if they don't have good character traits, other things, okay. You know, still have to respect the knowledge that they have, but they may not be good people. It's also true. Just means they're human. But the point here is you need judges in every generation. And they need to be respected. In regards to what you think happened 2,000, 3,000 years ago, in oral law and how it works, got other videos on that on YouTube. Doesn't matter, you say, oh, what do they know, whatever. We hold according to Jewish law. Each generation has the right to interpret Jewish law. It has to be done under the right parameters. Can't uproot anything, can't change the Torah, that's true. They're explaining what the Torah means. But if you disrespect them, you make fun of them, doesn't matter how ignorant you are. You don't do tshuva, there's going to be a very severe price to pay. It may even cost your life. So I remind everyone, I have a class on duties of the heart every Tuesday, 9 o'clock New York time, holding in the gate of faith, Shar B'tachon. Very interesting gate over there about faith in God. I have a question and answer session every Thursday and every Tuesday, right? Tuesday and Thursday, 10 o'clock New York time, 5 o'clock Israel time. And I have my conversion classes as well. Anyone interested, you can send me a chat at Beyond Orthodox Conversion and Judaism. On Facebook, you can send me an email, rabbichaimcoffman@gmail.com, RABBICHAIMCOFFMAN @gmail.com. Should everyone a great Shabbos.